Hey everyone, welcome to my Bubble Ball. Today I'll be talking about purchasing bubble balls and what you should know before actually buying anything. So let's get started. Okay, everything you need to know before purchasing a bubble ball. So here's what we'll be going over. Intro, 3 things to know before purchasing, who are you, what kind of bubble balls should you get, additional equipment, safety tips, pre- and post-game, and games to play. So if you have recently seen Bubble Soccer, thinking about buying a few bubble balls for your family or maybe an org, you got people who enjoy really active games, or you just need to tire your kids out, bubble balls are really the perfect product. They've been gaining popularity here in the US and are a great addition for schools, camps, churches, etc. And they're kind of silly looking, but Bubble Soccer actually started out as a joke, but it's a unique way to get exercise and have fun. So, what are the 3 things you need to know before making a purchase? First is quality. What is the quality of the bubble balls? Are they PVC or TPU? Not all vendors have consistent safety standards for their bubble balls, especially generic vendors such as Alibaba, Amazon, eBay. So be sure to find a company that is preferably based in the US and mention safety testing and safety standards. Another factor for quality is the type of plastic. We'll get into more detail later, but know that there are 2 types of plastic for bubble balls, and it's PVC and TPU. Lastly, there are certain features that you'll want on your bubble ball, so soft handles, adjustable straps, and a twist and lock valve. All of those features add to your safety. So second is a warranty. Not all companies offer a warranty, so be on the lookout. It'd be a shame after you made your purchase and waited for shipping and then only got to play once and then you learn your bubble ball is damaged and you don't get your money back. From what I've found, only Bubble Ball Inc. and Knocker Ball offer 30-day warranties. Lastly, what size do you need? Size matters for both ease of play and for safety, so we'll also get into that later. But first, who are you? Are you an individual and you just want to buy a couple of bubble balls for your family? You're a manager, coordinator, director looking to buy some for a camp, school, organization, or are you an entrepreneur and you want to run your own bubble ball business? If you're an individual, then you probably only need to buy 2 to 4 bubble balls. You could just buy one, but then you can't really play with anybody else, and that's not too much fun. Assuming you're just planning on tumbling in your backyard, you don't really need much more than 4 to play. If you want to hold teams, games, and maybe even leagues, you're probably in charge of an org, a program, camp, sports facility, and you'll want to consider a minimum of 8 bubble balls to play any games that use teams. Typically, though, people will buy sets of 12. That way, if 1 or 2 can't be used for whatever reason, you can still hold a 4x4 or 5x5 person game. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to run a bubble ball business, you might want to look into some partnership programs that different companies offer, but still, you'll probably also want to consider getting at least 12, but maybe more than 12, maybe 16 to 20 bubble balls. That way you can rent out more at one time and even hold leagues. So, what kind of bubble balls should you get? There are 2 types of plastic to use to make bubble balls. There's PVC, which is the cheaper plastic in both cost and quality, and then TPU, and that costs more, but it's durable and lasts longer. Along with these 2 plastics, some companies offer customization for your bubble balls, and that's you can make them different colors, or you can put a logo of 1 to 2 colors on them. Logos are great to either represent your own brand or credit your sponsor if you're a nonprofit or you're holding an event. Here's just a quick compare and contrast between PVC and TPU. So PVC is heavier in weight. They don't last as long as TPU. In cold temperatures, they get very brittle, and in very hot temperatures, the plastic will start to break down, and they probably only will last between 6 months to a year. They're less bouncy, lower elasticity. The plastic does stay clear over time, so that's one good thing, and they are cheaper. TPU is a lighter weight plastic. It lasts much longer. It's more durable. It also doesn't break down in hot temperatures and it does not get cold, or it doesn't harden in cold temperatures. TPU is a much bouncier plastic, more elastic, and so it lessens the impact. And the plastic does turn opaque over time, and it is a little more expensive. And it'll be up to you really to decide which plastic you want to go for. But I would say if you just want to play on occasion, PVC is fine as long as you avoid extreme temperatures. If you plan to use the bubble balls regularly, you should probably go with TPU. And then you can also check out my post about the two plastics at mybubbleball.me. I go into further detail. So what size should you get? Bubble balls come in 3 different sizes. There's the small 1.2 meters or 4 feet in diameter, and that's for children between 8 to 12 years or between the heights of 4'8" and 5'2" with a max of 140 pounds. There's the medium, which is 1.5 meters or 5 feet in diameter for teens and adults, max of 5'10" for height, and then a max of 200 pounds. Large is 1.8 meters or 6 feet in diameter for teens and adults who are over 5'10" and over 200 pounds. And if you have someone who is maybe, let's say they're 5'2" but 160 pounds, they'll probably want to be in a medium instead of a small, simply because there'll be more space for them and it'll probably be more comfortable for them too. So there's that to keep in mind as well. Also take note that not all companies offer all 3 sizes, so be sure to check that too when you go to different websites. So if you're working with mostly kids, between the ages of 8 to 13, you'll want to get a ratio of maybe 4/5 smalls and 1/5 mediums. Most kids between those ages fall under the small range, and then you'll want just a couple of mediums to accommodate for any kid that may be a bit bigger. So for example, there'll be a 12-pack, and you would buy 10 smalls and 2 mediums. Then if you're working with mostly teens and adults, you'll want to stick with a ratio of 2/3 mediums, 1/3 large. If you buy more than 12 bubble balls, then maybe throw in 1 or 2 smalls, but not all that necessary if you're just working with teens and adults, because even people who are petite can use mediums. The mediums accommodate most adults, and then the larges cover everyone else. So for example, you would do a 12-pack of 8 mediums, 4 larges, or a 16-pack of 10 mediums and 6 larges. If you're working with all ages, you would probably want at least 16 bubble balls, but 20 is more of an ideal number. So for example, you would get 8 smalls, 8 mediums, and 4 larges. That way kids can play against each other of, 4 against 4, and then teens and adults can do the same. And just as a side note, don't ever let kids and adults play against each other or someone very small against someone who's much larger. The smaller person will always go flying on impact, and it's less safe in general. So what else will you need? You'll need more than just bubble balls to actually start playing. At the very least, you'll need an electric pump to inflate it. You really don't want to pump those up manually. You'll need a generator to power the pump unless you have an outlet or a car battery, but keep in mind the pump could drain your car battery. And then you'll need cleaning products. The bubble balls will get very hot and sweaty when people play in them, so please clean them. And then additional equipment to consider would be a repair kit for quick fixes on bubble balls, bags to store and transport the bubble balls, and either like a car, a truck, or a wagon to carry the bubble balls around, because they're about 20 pounds each, so if you're carrying multiple at a time it can get heavy. And then cones and ropes to mark boundaries, knee pads, first aid kit for scrapes and bruises and stuff, goals, water, and of course a ball. So safety tips. Before you get started actually playing, here's a couple of things to keep in mind. To get in the bubble ball, have it on the ground and hold your arms forward like Superman, and then slide your arms into the straps as if you're putting on a backpack. Once you have the straps on, grab the front handles and stand up and lift the bubble ball up with you. It'll slide down and then you can adjust it accordingly. Make sure all players are securely strapped into their bubble balls and that their head does not stick out on top. You'll want about 10 inches of space because That 10 inches protects you from when you flip over and hit the ground. It protects your head. And you want to stay secure. You want the straps to be secure in the bubble ball so that you're not sliding around and sliding out of it. Because again, you want to protect your head when you're bouncing around. So if your straps come loose or are loose and you can't fix them yourself, stop and ask for help because you really don't want to be sliding around when you're playing. If a player sees or feels that their bubble ball is deflated, stop, ask for assistance from an employee or from whoever's in charge. That way they can get out of the bubble ball and it can get fixed and maybe they can get in a new one. Watch where you're kicking. You don't want to kick anybody's legs or shins by accident. Be aware of your surroundings. You are surrounded by, a giant inflatable, but you want to be careful for the bubble ball's sake of you don't want to hit maybe like a wall or a tree or a car, anything like that too hard because it can damage the bubble ball. And then if you're tired, take a break. This is a very physical sport. You will get very tired and that's okay. Most people who play, they say about 5 minutes is enough for them before they need a break. So keep that in mind. Don't hit people from behind because it's much harder for that person to then control themselves or control where they're going if they get hit. And then avoid bubble rushing. That's when two players run and smash into each other. It's more for the protection of the bubble ball because it's a great impact, and so it can lead to damage of the bubble ball. If you ever do go flying, be sure to tuck your legs in though to help protect your legs from falling on them weirdly or getting kicked. Let the players test out the bubble balls first to, get used to the weight and the size of them because they are kind of, weird to first put on. And then unless you're very physically adept, don't try to flip in the air like you see in YouTube videos. It's a lot harder than it looks, so just avoid that. When you're on the ground, roll on your stomach to stand up, and then to get out of the bubble ball, just roll on your stomach to slide out. And then, of course, use common sense. So pre-game warm-up and post-game cool-down. Make sure you're wearing sneakers and comfortable clothing that breathes and ideally is sweat-resistant. Like I said before, you will get very sweaty. Remove all jewelry. Take out anything in your pockets. You don't want it falling out in the middle of the game. You also don't want anything poking the bubble ball and potentially puncturing it. And you don't want anything poking you either. Tie your hair back if it's long or could fall into your eyes, and then stretch and warm up before playing. After game, stretch again to cool down. You will probably be very sore the next day, so stretching and warming up and cooling down will really help lessen the soreness that you'll feel the next day. And then, of course, drink lots of water when you're playing. It's a very physical sport. You will get very sweaty, so stay hydrated. There are a few different games that you can play with bubble balls. So, of course, there's bubble soccer, which is just like normal soccer. You're just in the bubble suits. There's bowling, where a bunch of people stand on one end, and then one person runs and tries to knock them over. There's sumo, and it's two players in a ring, and they try to knock each other out of the ring. Bulldog, everyone runs from one end to the other, while one person tries to knock them over as they're running. Royal Rumble is then just a free-for-all, and everyone's trying to knock everyone down, and the last one standing wins. There are plenty more games that you can play, and whatever you come up with, you can play. Those are just a couple if you don't have any ideas or, aren't sure what to do at first. So that's it. Thanks for listening. This covers the basics of purchasing. If you want to learn more about the plastic types, safety tips, game facilitation, pricing for bubble balls, pricing for games. If you want to, as I mentioned before, if you're looking more to be an entrepreneur and start your own business, I'll be covering more of that too. So check out the blog at mybubbleball.me. Twitter is mybubbleball, and then go to facebook.com/mybubbleball as well. Please like and subscribe and share with everybody you know who's interested in bubble soccer and bubble balls. All right, thanks so much.